Now, I haven't done a full-on portfolio update in about 4 months. Now, I'm not trying to hide my losses or anything like that. In fact, I've showed my portfolio more often than any other time in the history of this channel, just not as a regular schmegular portfolio update. So these are for the people who like that sort of video. So first things first, this is my Trading 212 Stocks ISA, which has the majority of my money. Remember, this is my portfolio update. This is how I invest. This is not financial advice, and this also goes against the whole long-term investing mentality that you probably should have. And if you're thinking, this guy talks about long-term investing all the time but doesn't do it himself, why should I do it? Then realistically, it's not going to affect me if you long-term invest or not. It's just probably the best thing you could do. So this is my Trading 212 Stocks ISA. The current value is £118,450. You can see over the past year, my portfolio is up by £15,200. Very happy with that. But comparatively, other portfolios have probably done a lot better than this. Over the past 3 months, up by £8,000. Sounds amazing, doesn't it? However, like I said, other portfolios, especially online, are probably going to be doing a lot better than I am. I'm very open with my portfolios, always have been for the past 3 years. Now, the past month is where things get very different. My return has been only 0.3%, and that is a return positive of £450. Now, if you would like to sign up to Trading 212 and receive a free fractional share worth up to £100, all you have to do is to click the link in the description box down below. Alternatively, if you've already signed up to Trading 212 in the past 10 days but have not received your free fractional share, then all you have to do is to press the 3 horizontal line menu over here. Scroll all the way down until you see the section Use Promo Code, and in this section just enter my code JUBAIR and you should receive a free fractional share. Now, because it's been a while since my last portfolio update, I'm going to be explaining what I've done. I've made plenty of videos about the recent dip that we had. It was about 20%. Of course, I was all invested into that. My portfolio went down to something around less than £90,000. But anyway, I had shares in the S&P 500 and I wasn't going to, for anything, sell them at a loss in order to, try to buy lower or higher. I didn't do that. On the 12th of June, I sold out of all of my holdings in the S&P 500 and then I just kept cash. I should have just bought back in when there was a small dip. I didn't do that, much to my regret, because I would have been up over £10,000 if I had done that. But anyway, hindsight is always 20/20, isn't it? It doesn't really matter. So my Stocks and Shares ISA is very simple. I have only one pie here in which I invest £10 into the S&P 500 every single day. I'm going to do a dedicated update to that series later on, either end of this week or the beginning of next week, so keep updated for that. So other than that, I am definitely all in cash, which is very controversial indeed. As you can see, I currently hold £117,556 in cash, currently getting that nice 4.35% as an annual equivalent rate. That is a daily interest payment of £13.70. I've been using £10 from this every single day to plump into the S&P 500. A quick glance over this, you can see since investing I am up by 5%, which is nice, or about £44.54. Now that is pretty much the end of the Stocks and Shares ISA. There have been some regrets over the past few months in actually just keeping cash. Should have just held on to my S&P 500 holdings and maybe potentially sold out later. It is what it is, once again showing that long-term investing is probably the best strategy that you could adopt for, average gains, which again, average gains are not at all bad in the stock market. Again, this is not financial advice and past performance does not indicate what the future can hold. Now, this is my Trading 212 Invest account. The current balance is £14,842. Now, you can see over the past year, a lot has happened. My rate of return is pretty good in my Trading 212 Invest account, better than my Stocks and Shares ISA, up by 21.8% or £3,564. Again, the net deposits numbers, don't really look into that. I've been depositing a lot and withdrawing a lot, so it's all over the place. Net deposits currently says £6,459. The other day it was negative, so don't actually pay attention to that. So you can see over the past 3 months, I actually took out a wad of cash. It was actually a massive amount of cash. What's 22 minus 5? Let me do the quick math on that. So I withdrew about £17,000 to feed into my ISA. I actually maxed out my ISAs elsewhere, not Trading 212 this time. Very controversial. It's actually not controversial at all. I just wanted to try out some other providers. Obviously, Trading 212 is still my favorite platform. I'm going to use them, and as you can see, I use the Trading to Invest account pretty much all the time anyway. So I took £17,000 out, and then I've been gradually putting in more money as I get paid, well, as I pay myself really. Just the other day, I put in a wad of cash again. This was actually me emptying my InvestEngine account. For me, I just prefer to be able to buy and sell when I want. Even if I lose to the market, it's something I actually prefer to do, having that control. For me, that control is just worth more than potential gains. Sounds silly, but I am. You can see over the past month, my return has been a positive 0.9%. There is a bit of a decrease. I'll show you in my portfolio where that's coming from. In terms of cash, I have £4,429 in cash, currently getting again 4.35% as an annual equivalent rate, daily interest payment of 51 pence. And remember, both in the Stocks ISA and the Invest account, this cash mostly is put into qualifying money market funds, which is classed as an investment, so your capital will slightly be at risk. If you want to know more about that risk, I have made videos on that. I've also been doing a lot of emptying in my Trading to Invest account, so I have a lot less stocks than my previous portfolio update. So as usual, I have been buying and selling. Today, I actually sold out some of my shares that I had. I'll show you later the 4 holdings, but my total realized profit so far is £5,886. So let's go through all of my holdings. All of them are in the negative, and there is a good reason for that. So my first holding is in Moderna. This is a very small amount. All of these are really small amounts. They're usually just 3 shares that I kept. So with Moderna, it's a very small amount. I am down by 69.36%, and that is a loss of £7.65. The company has been doing absolutely terribly over the past year, actually since about the pandemic time really. We all know what happened there. Next I have Nike, that is down by 31%, down by £10.27. Then I have BMW down by 16.11%, down by £5.19. Vodafone is one that has been climbing over the past 3 months, up by 13%. But in my portfolio overall, it is still down by 9.09% overall. Very small holding again here, down by only £2.91. Then I have Delivery Hero here, and that is down by 12.31%, or a loss of £4.74. Over the past year, you can see they've had quite a roller coaster of, emotions and all sorts. I'm not going to really go into these companies as I don't think I have enough to warrant any time spending on these. Then I have British Petroleum down by 22%, or £25.15. Then I have Deutsche Lufthansa. You can see over the past year, they are up by a nice 32%. But again, I am down overall by 12.89%. And that is a loss of £17.24. So these individual stocks that I have here are only here because they are in a loss. I'm going to loss farm these, which means I'm going to keep these. And if I make enough capital gains, I'm going to use these to, reduce the taxes that I have to pay, and that's the only reason why I haven't completely sold out of them. I have been making quite a bit of capital gains this year. I'm probably going to be exceeding the threshold. I've made loads of capital gains in my other accounts, so it's good to have these just in case I'm at the tipping point in terms of capital gains. So the only meaningful investment in this account is here, the iShares Core S&P 500. Now you can see this has had an immense ride over the past 3 months, up by 11.65%, but I only bought this last week, so I am down by 1.09%, and that is a loss of £111.09. Now, some of you may be wondering as to why I would buy right at the top and why I would lump £10,000 in. Well, the rationale is that, the stock market can still go higher even at all-time highs. And if I have no skin in the game, then what am I really gaining by just holding cash? So I just dumped in £10,000, and of course, the markets went down immediately. Then I bought another £4,000 worth, and then today it went up, and then I sold that bit off. Obviously, this is just my portfolio. I have other portfolios with other brokers that I will be doing long-term investing in, which I truly believe is probably the best way you can get average returns in the market. And average returns are usually far superior than, trying to tinker with the markets and getting subpar returns. Either way, nothing that I show is financial advice. I don't have any sort of private groups where I talk about when I'm going to buy and sell. Absolutely not. I only will show you after the fact that I've done it. So the goal with the Trading to Invest account is, just like I did just a few months ago, is to have at least £20,000 in here so that I can sell it off and shift that into my next year's stocks and shares ISA. I have not decided who that's going to be. Not even sure if it's going to be Trading 212 again. I feel like I have a decent amount already in my Trading 212 stocks ISA, so I might want to try out other providers. That's only the rationale. If it wasn't because of that, I would 100% use Trading 212. I really like the platform, but we will see where my decision leans towards. So make sure to check out some of my other videos, and I'll see you in the next video.